As a full-time coach, running sales calls is one of the hardest things I do. There's a lot resting on that 45-minute conversation. You say the right things and you can easily sign a new client, but you say the wrong things and you can just as easily scare a great client away. Hey, my name's Jason Moss. I'm a former director of sales who helped scale a multi-seven-figure coaching business, and I've helped thousands of coaches around the world get more clients. And in this video, I'm gonna share 8 of the biggest sales call mistakes I see so many coaches making. These are mistakes that are costing so many coaches clients and income. And if you wanna know what those mistakes are and how to avoid them so you can start signing more clients, keep watching. But before we dive in, look, learning how to sell like a pro is super important if you want to sign clients, but it's only one of 4 keys to success when it comes to getting clients consistently in your coaching business. So if you want to know what the other 3 keys are and how to dial those things in your business so you can start getting more clients, I put together a free client attraction guide that walks through all these 4 steps, what they are, everything you need to have in place in your business to start signing more clients more consistently. You can get this for free. Just click the link above or below and you can go download that right now. Mistake number 1 is missing the opportunity to pre-sell. So I hear from a lot of coaches in my programs and when I work with people on a personal basis to help them with this, who say, Jason, I want to learn how to sell better. How do I handle objections? How do I really make sure that when I show up to these calls, I can feel confident and know what to say? It makes sense that if you want to improve your close rate and start signing more clients, this would be an area to focus on. But oftentimes what coaches miss is that the biggest opportunity that you have to increase your close rate on a sales call actually has nothing to do with the sales call itself. It's everything that your potential client sees before they get on the phone with you. Your posts, your social media content, your emails, your messaging, everything that they see before they get on the phone with you has a much larger impact on your ability to actually close the deal than anything that you say on the phone. And I think this is a big area that a lot of coaches miss. We're so focused on how we navigate sales calls that we miss, how do we make sure that people are pre-sold before we actually get on the phone? When your marketing does a really good job at this, when you've got the right pieces in place, you're helping somebody connect to a certain set of beliefs in terms of the way that they see you before they even get on a call with you, the chances that you're going to close them are going to be much higher, even if your sales calls are a little wonky. On the flip side, you could have the best sales skills in the world, but if you get someone on the phone who has no idea who you are, they're not really connected to the fact that they want to make a change in their life, they're not totally sold on you and your process, it's going to be a million times harder, even if you're really good at sales. So the first thing that I recommend is you look at your marketing process and say, how can I do a better job connecting my potential clients to what they need to see in order to be pre-sold on me before they actually even get on the phone? This could be as simple as, sending someone an email out before they meet with you and sending them maybe links to trainings or testimonials or more information about your process. There's many different ways you could go about doing this, but the key is really treating your business as a holistic process, not just looking at, okay, how do we improve the way that you sell, but also looking at each piece of the puzzle and how it plays into the journey that somebody takes from going from I'm interested to becoming a paying client. Mistake number 2 is being the salesperson instead of the trusted advisor. I can always tell where coaches are on this point. When I ask a coach, what's your goal when you get on the phone with someone? What are you really trying to do? And some coaches will tell me, well, my goal is to sign a client. My goal is never to sign a client when I get on a call. My goal is to understand what they want and need, what it's actually going to take in order to get them to where they want to be. From there, if I feel like I can genuinely help them and I feel like I have the best solution to be able to help them get from that A to B point, then great. We can go into a sales conversation. But really, before that point, I'm not going into a call thinking I'm going to close this person. I have no idea what they want and need. I have no idea whether or not I'm going to be the right fit. In fact, the way that I frame the beginning of every sales call is telling someone that. I say, look, I don't know if I'm going to be the right fit for you. What I'd like to do is ask some questions today and figure out what's going on and what you really need, and we can get clarity together on what the best next steps are for you. And if that means a conversation about working together, great, we can go there. If not, I'll point you somewhere else. So the mindset and the intention that you bring into a sales conversation is really important. Are you being the salesperson? Are you showing up to a call with the intention or the goal of closing someone? People feel that energy. It's going to turn people off. Or Are you showing up as the trusted advisor, as the person who is taking somebody else under your wing and basically learning more about their situation and what they really need and pointing them towards the absolute best next steps for them, even if that means not working together? That mindset shift and that intention shift will radically change the relationship that you have with people when you're on the phone. And if you can show up in that energy, people will feel the difference. It's going to deepen the connection that you have with the person that you're speaking to and make it much more likely that someone actually does end up signing up to work with you. Mistake number 3 is avoiding or minimizing pain. So whenever I get on a call with someone, like I have a big heart. I really care deeply about every single person that I talk to. And I want nothing more than for them to get what they want. And I also don't want them to feel pain. I care. I want them to feel good. And this is a normal human thing. Like we don't want other people to feel bad, right? And chances are, if you're a coach, you feel really connected to people. You probably feel people very deeply. And so oftentimes, like when we get on a call with someone, our instinct is when they start talking about challenges or problems or things that aren't working in their life, it's like the instinct is to soften the pain that's associated with that. So someone you might ask a question, for example, like, what's your biggest challenge in when it comes to your relationship? And someone might start talking about, well, my partner and I have been on the rocks for a while. And you might say, oh, well, a lot of people are in that place too. You're definitely not alone there. So we're kind of softening with validation, or we kind of skirt over more of the emotional reality that someone's experiencing because we don't want them to feel bad. We don't want to take them to that place where they actually feel the emotions that are often unpleasant associated with having a specific challenge or problem. It comes from a really good place. It comes from our desire to want to make other people feel good. Problem is the exact opposite of what's actually going to set somebody up to be in a position to be able to really confront their situation clearly and gain the personal leverage that they need in order to make a change in their life. For most people out there, in order to make a change, we first have to get to a place where we're so fed up with experiencing pain or discomfort that pain or discomfort propels us to step into something new. And so part of your job on a sales call is I want somebody to feel that. If they're experiencing a challenge in their coaching business, if things aren't right in their relationship, I don't want to just talk about the surface level facts. I want somebody to really experience on that call what it feels like to have that problem or pain and the impact that that's having on every area of their life and on their family's life and on their children's life. And I want them to really sit in that without me hopping in and trying to save them. And if you can do that really well on a sales call, you're going to allow somebody to come to a place where they really see more clearly what's actually going on and confront some maybe uncomfortable truths that they've been avoiding or pushing under the rug. And this is an incredible gift that you can give to somebody else, because when somebody is able to come fully to face their reality and their situation, they gain the personal leverage that they need to make an empowered decision to change that. And the first step is really facing the truth. One of my favorite tools on sales calls is silence. Like when someone shares something that really is weighty, I'll just let them sit in it for a couple of seconds before I ask my next question. And the reason I do that is because I want them to really feel what they're actually saying. And so, sometimes we hop in really quickly and we ask the next question because it's like, this is uncomfortable. This feels uncomfortable for me. I don't want somebody else to feel uncomfortable. If you can learn to lean out a little bit more, to create more space for somebody else to really feel more deeply what they're actually communicating to you, and avoid, minimizing and softening things with validation and things like that we do when we're feeling uncomfortable. We want to take away somebody else's pain. Your close rate will go up. And more importantly, you're going to help facilitate someone having a much deeper experience on that sales call with you. Sales mistake number 4 is avoiding the elephant in the room. So sometimes you're on a sales call and you're talking with someone and you're just like, I feel like there's something not being said here. Like you might ask a question and somebody's like telling you the right words, but there's just something else under the surface that they're not saying. And you can kind of feel that. Or maybe they're saying something, but you don't believe them. Like they're telling you they really want something, but you can just tell in their tonality or the inflection of their voice, like something doesn't match up. There's all sorts of subtle cues that we, pick up on when we're communicating with someone. And most of the time, in normal relationships, when we're just hanging out with friends or our family, there's a lot of stuff that we just let go. Like, we don't bring up some of those subtle cues. And, if someone's maybe a little incongruent, it's like, we're just going to let that slide because we don't want to create conflict, or we don't want to step into an uncomfortable conversation. This is not what you want to do on sales calls. Your job on a sales call is not to be someone's friend, but to really call out what's actually happening. And when you sense that there's something under the surface that someone's not communicating or not saying, you want to call that out. It's an incredible opportunity to deepen the connection that you have with someone else and to get past the BS that is going to prevent you from really getting clear on what's happening, what they really need, whether or not you are a good fit, all the things that you really need to do on a sales call. So one way you can do this was taught to me by a great sales coach I work with. His name's Keith Rosen. You can use a line like, hey, I'm sensing there might be a little bit of tension here. Is there any truth to that? I like the way this line is framed because it doesn't use the word you. And when you use the word you and confront somebody with something, their instant reaction is going to be on the defense. If you say, hey, I'm sensing you might be a little uncomfortable right now, it's a much more confronting way of saying that than, I'm sensing there might be a little discomfort here. It's more neutral. It's going to invite somebody into more of a dialogue about what's actually going on. And you're also checking in with them. You're saying, hey, I'm sensing there might be this thing here. Is there any truth to that? I don't know. I might be totally misreading this. I can't tell you how many times I've done this on sales calls. I've brought things up and people have thanked me. They've said, thank you. I really appreciate that you called me out on that, or I really appreciate that, we were able to dive deeper. Or even if they don't thank me, there's just a sense of like, oh, suddenly we've actually connected on a deeper level. Cause I'm not just sitting here reading a script and being like some sales robot. I'm actually having genuine, authentic dialogue with them. And that's really important. So call out the elephant in the room. It's one of the biggest things that you can do on sales calls to increase the chance that someone does actually sign up with you, because you're going to just deepen that connection and that relationship as a result of doing that. Sales mistake number 5 is being their friend instead of the leader. Your job on a sales call is not to be someone's friend. Sometimes like we get on sales calls, it's like we feel this need to like prove or, make somebody else like us. And so oftentimes that comes up in this like really friendly energy where it's like we're really trying to like impress them, is kind of another way of putting it. So you might, spend a lot of time talking about someone's kids and their family, and you're spending all this time like building rapport and getting to know somebody. And there's this energy of like, friendliness. And I don't want to like say anything that's going to rock the boat. And you lose all of your leadership when you bring this energy into a conversation. Your job on a sales call is not to be someone's friend. It's to be the leader. It's to help somebody get what they want. And in order to do that, sometimes you got to have difficult conversations. And so that friendly energy, that kind of proving and impressing energy, all the energy that we bring to a call that actually holds us back from being able to really call somebody to a higher standard in their life. We want to get rid of that. We want to put that off to the side. So showing up to a call embodied with this energy of like, I'm not here to convince someone or prove to someone that I'm worthy. Like, if they're on the call, they already believe I'm the real deal. I don't need to sell them on that. And I'm not here to be someone's friend. We're not going to spend 20 minutes talking about their kids because that's not what they want. They're here because they have a problem or challenge or thing that they want. And so my job is to help them get that. And in the spirit of doing that, like, we're going to get down to brass tacks. Like, we're not going to mess around here. And so if you can show up in that energy on a sales call, there's so many things that are going to change as a result. You're going to be able to, one of the biggest things that will change is at the end of the call, when it comes to someone actually committing to making a decision, you'll be able to really call people out and have deeper, level conversations because you haven't lost all your leadership. If you show up in the friend zone and you get kind of pegged in the friend zone, then oftentimes at the end of the call, it's like when someone is like, well, I need to think about it. You're like, oh yeah, okay, cool. And we just lean out because we have no leadership of being able to, well, what do you need to think about? Like, talk to me. What's going on? You told me earlier that you want this, and this. You said the program's a great fit. Like, is there something I missed here? So that happens, that ability to do that is a function of you being the leader on a call and stepping out of that friend zone energy. So we're not here to be people's friends when we're on sales calls. Mistake number 6 is pitching the process instead of the result. When you are on a sales call and you're sharing what you do and how you can help someone, when you're basically pitching. You don't want to get lost in the weeds of how you're going to take them from point A to point B. This is a big mistake that I see from a lot of coaches, because as coaches, we're really excited about what we do. Whether you've studied different healing modalities or NLP or whatever you do, you're probably really into it. Just like I'm really into what I do as a business coach. But if I got on training and said, oh, I'm so excited about marketing, I'm going to teach you everything you need to know about marketing and all the little details about how to set up funnels and all this stuff, your eyes would probably be glazing over. Because as a coach, if you're here, you probably don't care all that much about learning how to be like a master marketer. What you probably care about is, how do I get clients, Jason? Just tell me how to get clients. Tell me how I can close more deals. That's the bottom line for you. That's what you care about. You're not trying to be an expert salesperson or expert marketer. It's a means to an end. And the same thing applies for your clients. So the reason why someone's going to work with you is not because they care about NLP or trauma healing or whatever you do. The reason they're going to work with you is because they want some specific result. They want to get from where they are today to somewhere else, where they want to be, the outcome, the result, the better life, the better whatever it is that they want. And so in the spirit of you really being able to position what you do in a way that connects to that, when you're sharing what you do and how you can help someone, we want to stay out of the weeds and all the details and all the how it's going to work. So don't talk about coaching sessions and worksheets and spend a bunch of time like explaining to somebody how every single module of your training thing is going to work. Instead, you can keep it high level and really focus on, okay, here's how we're going to get you from where you are today and solve the problems that you mentioned earlier. And here's what's on the other side. Here's what you're going to experience after you go through this with me. Here's how much better your life is going to be. Here's specifically what your life is going to look like as a result. The more that we can focus on that transformation, the less on the process. This is how you pitch in a way that's really compelling to people, in a way that when they hear what you do, they go, wow, like this is incredible. This is exactly what I want. It's staying out of the weeds, focusing on the A to B or the transformation. This is how you pitch like a pro. Mistake number 7 is impressing versus assessing. We talked about this earlier. So the energy of impressing, the energy of proving, the energy of convincing or selling on a sales call will push people away. It's kind of like dating. It's like if you're the one chasing somebody else, chances are they're probably not going to pick up your calls. But if you're the kind of person who's like, yeah, I'm like super busy this weekend, maybe we'll get time to see each other, maybe not. Like if you're kind of a little bit like hard to get in that sense, you're going to be much more attractive to other people. The same thing applies when it comes to sales calls, right? So the energy of impressing, the energy of I need to show up to a call to convince someone that I'm the real deal, that they should work with me. That frame and that mindset will tank a lot of sales calls. Instead, show up in the energy of assessing, which is this person already knows I'm the real deal. I don't need to convince them of that. My job is to figure out whether or not they're a good fit for me, because I've got more than enough clients to work with. And I get to be really selective. And I only work with a certain number of clients, and I only work with clients who are like XYZ. And so my job on this call is to figure out, are you the right fit for me? When you can show up in that energy, it completely flips the script. And it dramatically changes the way that somebody relates to you on a call and the level of leadership that you have. And what you'll find is the more that you can step into that energy, the more that someone is going to be attracted to the idea of working with you. So let's skip the impressing energy and instead start showing up with the energy of assessing instead. And the last and final mistake is overcoming objections instead of preventing them. I hear from a lot of coaches that ask me, Jason, what do you say when someone says it's too expensive? Or what do you say when someone says I need to think about it? And my answer is always the same. When you're trying to figure out what to say as a result, it's like trying to put a Band-Aid on like a gaping wound. Really, I mean, that's a dramatic analogy, but the truth is that it's far better to prevent objections from happening in the first place than to try to mop them up on the back end with, fancy rebuttals and some, fancy script that you can say when somebody says it's too expensive or whatever it is. The reason why that stuff happens 8 times out of 10 is because you missed something earlier on in the call. And when you do a really good job in the first 20 to 25 minutes of a call, and a lot of that is you asking the right questions that help people sell themselves, a lot of the objections that you're going to get at the end of a conversation are much less likely to happen. It's not that they're never going to happen, but the number of them will significantly reduce. So if you find yourself getting a certain objection on a call again and again and again, like maybe it's too expensive, I would go back to the first 20 to 25 minutes of a call and ask yourself, how could I do better here? How can I prevent this objection from happening in the first place? So for example, if somebody says it's too expensive, 8 times out of 10, they're not actually saying I can't afford it. Most of the time what they're saying is I just don't feel connected enough to the value of what this is gonna bring to my life to feel like that price that you're giving me justifies what this transformation really is. So sometimes that means we didn't do a good enough job pitching. Maybe we focused too much on the process, right? Sometimes it means we didn't ask the right questions earlier on in a call to really be able to connect somebody to their own intrinsic sense of desire, so they see really clearly what the value of this transformation is in their life. It's a big part of what we teach people inside our programs. We've got inside Coaching Launchpad, we've got a whole sales script that walks through like what the best questions are to ask to help you do this on sales calls. But really the first step is you just going back and asking yourself, how can I do this better? How can I prevent these objections from happening in the first place? And when you do a really good job at that, a lot of the times the end of the calls are pretty easy. Not all the time, but a lot of the time it's going to be as simple as, cool, you want to do this? Let's collect your payment details and we'll go from there. So I hope you found the 8 mistakes in this video clarifying, and hopefully just the awareness of knowing what they are and how to avoid them will help you start to sign more clients and just get on track to more success as a coach. Remember, I mentioned this earlier, learning how to sell like a pro is one of 4 steps really that it takes to be able to succeed in your coaching business. You got to have these other 3 things in place too. And if you want to make sure that you have everything in place that you need in your coaching business to be able to sign clients consistently, I recommend downloading my free client attraction guide. You can click the link above or below. We've got the entire 4-step process in detail. It walks through each of these stages, showing you what you need to have in place in your business to start signing more clients. Click that link above, below, go download that right now. It's completely free. And I'd love to share it with you. I think it's going to make a big impact on your ability to sign clients and just get on track to more success as a coach. So before you go, comment down below and let me know, of these 8 mistakes that we talked about in this video, which of them do you feel like is the biggest opportunity for you? Was there one that stood out for you as like, hey, if I really can focus on improving this in the way that I sell, I feel like that would make the biggest difference in terms of my ability to sign more coaching clients? I'd love to hear. So leave me a comment down below and let me know. And we've got so many awesome videos coming on this channel. So if you're looking for more guidance, help, resources, tools, tips, strategies to help launch or grow your coaching business, hit that subscribe button down below, and I'll see you on the inside.